Channel 3000's digital content manager, James Langer, has been watching every single minute of this trial, manning our live stream and giving you recaps while the court is not in session. He joins us now live from the newsroom. James?
Hi, James.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. You've talked to a lot of people about this. How unusual is this to have a pause in the middle of a murder trial?
From what I've heard, it's really unusual. I spoke to an attorney earlier today. She's a defense attorney. She says, you know, we've been back in in-person court for a little while now, trying to navigate a pandemic and a trial. Obviously, nothing to this extent, but she couldn't think of anything like this happening. You know, there's contingency plans in place. There might be a juror or something that has to be replaced, but nothing quite like this, where the actual defendant on trial is the one that tests positive and causes the whole case to kind of go on hold for several days.
And there will be a week gap now before the trial resumes. Will the jury be expected to remember all of the testimony? And is it realistic to assume that they won't watch news coverage of the case in that period?
Yeah, I think whether it's realistic kind of depends on who you ask, but they will be counted on to remember things. Of course, they do have those notebooks in the courtroom. They can take notes during testimony, that kind of thing. So they will be able to refer back to that once they're back in the courtroom. But those notebooks stay there in those juror seats. They can't refer to them while they're out on break. And, you know, yeah, the other question here, whether it's realistic to expect somebody to not even coincidentally go and find information. Of course, when you're a juror in a case, that's expected of you. You can't go out and search for additional information, or you can't even really overhear it. And that's going to be a big challenge over the next at least 5 business days. As you guys mentioned, Tuesday, December 18th, the earliest that they could be back. It could be longer than that too, but I talked to an attorney today, and she said it's kind of wishful thinking that this might be the case. Take a look at what she said.
I find that to be a little bit of magical thinking, no matter how well-intended and earnest jurors are. They're home, they're probably quarantining because they've been in this courtroom with a positive COVID. Their family's going to want to know what's been going on.
Similarly, they're sitting at home, they have access to media.
Yeah, so as you said, it's kind of just human nature for us, right, to be kind of curious about things, especially something this high profile. We don't know who these jurors are, obviously, but, you know, it's understandable to think they might have families at home thinking, hey, so what's going on? What's on your mind here? And they just can't answer that.
And Gemma seemed to indicate that if she were trying this, defending this case, that she might call for a mistrial.
Yeah, I asked her, if you were in this situation, how would you handle it? And she just said she would ask for a mistrial. Not over anything, you know, at fault of anyone, but it's just kind of an unusual situation, and the chances of the jury pool kind of being tainted by some outside information from the defense's point of view is pretty high. And she also mentioned, too, as a defense attorney, you know, we're in the middle of the state's case here. They've heard nothing but the state side of this story for a week straight. A lot of circumstantial evidence to go through. That's what's going to be on jurors' minds as they sit here at home for the next week.
Yeah, very unusual circumstances. James, thank you so much, and our thanks to Jessa Nicholson as well, who has been great guiding us through all of these legal cases that are complicated and have so much nuance. So, James, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right.